Podcast City Network.
This is Final Score, your number one podcast for sports news. Here are your hosts, Chris and Craig.
Hey guys, and welcome to another exciting episode of Final Score, episode 85. We just keep on chugging-a-lugging along, and here we are, up to 85 now. But of course, I don't do this alone. I have with me the man that makes up the other half of the final and the score. Craig, bud, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. We got a lot of fun stuff that's happened over college basketball, college football this weekend. We got a really good lineup of topics to talk about today. But I'm good. I know we had some issues a little bit earlier. How are you doing over on that end?
Well, when it comes to those technical difficulties, I won't lie, I was the technical difficulty. So, wasn't all that great. Always watch out how much buffalo chicken dip you eat. So, just putting that out there. PSA.
It's some biological difficulties.
Oh, yeah, to say the least. But we still do have an action-packed show for you guys today. A lot of great stuff, but first and foremost, to be able to make sure you stay up on all things Final Score, you have to follow us on social media at PCN Final Score on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. As you see above us, Twitter followers and Facebook followers, we are trying to hit some goals. All right, we are trying to increase these numbers. We're trying to hit 250 on Twitter, 1,500 on Facebook, and we can only do it with your guys' help. So please share us, invite your friends, get the word out there about Final Score, because we try to bring the very best in sports. So if you want to get that good dose, bring in the Final Score. But we also are looking for other kinds of people, aren't we, Craig?
Yeah, team at Final Score and Podcast City Network, we are looking for writers to contribute articles for Final Score and, of course, for other podcasts and segments to join the show. We're looking for a sports writing role for those who want to gain maybe some resume experience. If you want to build your brand as a journalist, if you've always been interested in learning more about this industry and what you can do. And if you love sports and just want to grow within the network and within the show itself. If you want to learn more, you can reach out to us either here on Facebook or you can reach out to us by email, pcnfinalscore@gmail.com, and we'll get back in touch with you, see if we're a good fit.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely make sure to hit us up at pcnfinalscore@gmail.com. I want to add everything these days, I tell you what. But definitely hit us up, or definitely hit us up where you see below at PCN Final Score on any of our social media. We'll definitely get back to you guys, and we're trying to grow this thing big. But something else going on big is NFL Week 14 action. We've already seen one game go down this week, finally bringing back some Thursday night action. And sad to say, though, it really wasn't much of a contest, just because at the end of the day, the Rams just looked flat out dominant against the Patriots, with the Rams taking it 24-3. What are your thoughts on this game, man?
I think this was more of the inability to move the ball and score points for the Patriots offense more than it was for the Rams defense. I mean, if you look at how they stack up, the Rams have one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Absolutely.
So we already kind of knew that coming in. The question was going to be, can Cam Newton and company move the ball? And we've seen that they cannot. And actually, Cam Newton was benched in the fourth quarter for Jarrett Stidham, which
that's true.
Was kind of a little too late for that kind of change of pace there. But with that, I mean, the Rams look really good, man. They're looking good. I know it's Patriots defense, but or the Patriots don't have an offense. But
yeah, I mean,
the Patriots are top 5 in rushing offense. So I mean, they have something going for them, and the fact that the Rams shut that down too, that made them one-dimensional, made Cam Newton try to make some plays, which he wasn't able to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which New England's leading rusher was Damian Harris, who only had 50 yards on 11 touches. So as a team, they only rushed for 107 yards. Even LA almost outrushed that 2-1. So it's really crazy to see just how dominant LA was in this, because at least you get a little bit of spark out of the Patriots. Even with Cam Newton, there's at least a little something, but even Cam Newton looked poultry, 9 of 16 with a pick, 119 yards, not super pedestrian, even by his standards, really. So it's kind of crazy just to see this downward spiral, it seems like now, where everybody thought Cam Newton was going to have this resurgence, because now he's with the quarterback guru of Bill Belichick and all this and all this hype, and now they have a 6-7 record. So I guess they are who we thought they were. I don't know, but either way, it's been very pedestrian, and obviously, I mean, I guess Tom Brady was a good quarterback.
I guess he was.
Tastes like vinegar.
I guess he was a big piece of that. Yeah, I was on that train too. I thought with this, it could go two ways. It could be an utter disaster, or this could be a match made in heaven for Bill Belichick and Cam Newton. But he's got to be still learning that offense. I mean, look at how even in Tom Brady's early years, they relied heavily on the run in their defense instead of letting him make plays. So. But just a couple things here, like with this loss now, you mentioned the Pats are 6-7. This is the first time since 2002 that the Patriots are now going to finish the season with less than 10 wins. That was an NFL record streak of 17 straight seasons. And now they're at the risk of losing out on a playoff berth, which will be the first time in 12 years that they have not made the playoffs.
Which is absolutely insane when you really think about it. Just the kind of longevity that franchise has had over all this time. But now when you look back, hey, was all that really Tom Brady? Like, really? So
I think it was a little bit of stingy defense too.
Definitely.
That might have helped.
Oh yeah, for sure. But when you look at the Rams side of this now, the Rams now take the lead in the NFC West, which is huge considering that you're still trying to match up against Seattle, who's been setting their own pace, but have been kind of tripping up as of late. We'll get to that a little bit here in a little bit, but with the Rams, they clinched now their fourth straight winning season. You have the rookie running back Cam Akers, who went absolutely insane on the ground with almost 200 rushing yards. Dude was absolute fire. So it's crazy to see the maturation the Rams are also going through, because typically we see any kind of team that ends up losing a Super Bowl, it takes a few years to even get back on track most of the time. And most of these teams never rebound very well. Like, perfect example, look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They were in complete, just dire peril after winning the title in 2002. So it's crazy to see the Rams now really trying to bounce back. They gave Goff that big old contract. They've been able to, for the most part, keep that defense all together. Went out, got Jalen Ramsey, and now they're really starting to make things happen again. So, I mean, dare I say, watch out for the Rams.
Yeah, they clinched their fourth straight winning season, and that's really, this is their window. We've talked about this a little bit, when they were putting these pieces together in the offseason, that really you got to look out for how is that offense going to bounce back. Cooper Kupp coming off that injury, and Jared Goff got all that money, and you don't really know. Jared Goff was really the big question mark, because he had a good year when they went to the Super Bowl and then took a step back, and now he's kind of somewhere in the middle. So, but if you look at what's left for the Rams, and this is a big question that we want to ask each other, and will the Rams win the NFC West?
Oof.
Right now they're at 9-4, and the Seattle Seahawks are at 8-4, and you don't really know what you're going to see out of Seattle every single week now going forward, especially with what they did last week. So they got 3 games left, 2 of them at home. Do you think they're going to win the NFC West?
Ooh, man, that's a real tough one to call, I feel like, just because there's still a lot of competition and anything can happen. Because you got to look at it, we're still got that little bit of a buffer period where a lot of things can happen. And you also have to look at Seattle's schedule. They got to play the Jets this weekend, which, come on, the 0-12 Jets, come on. But then they got to play Washington, they got to play the Rams, and then they got the 49ers. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. because the last two games are going to be against the NFC West, and that could determine a whole lot of things with how this is going to play out. So, I mean, a lot could happen, but as of right now, LA truly does probably control their own destiny. Even if Seattle were to win out, if LA can get that last win against Seattle, it's theirs.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the Rams are in the driver's seat too. I mean, Seattle's got a little bit of a harder road on paper, but if the Rams defense keeps playing the way they are, Seattle doesn't play defense, so all they have to do is slow down Russell Wilson, and they can score more points. They got to be able to keep up on offense there, and then the Cardinals in Week 17, that's a big test too, because Kyler Murray, even though the Arizona Cardinals are 6-6, Kyler Murray's been playing very well, and he's been helping keep that offense afloat, really.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So,
and when you think about it, too, that could be a make-or-break game depending upon how both teams end up turning out these last few weeks. So anything can happen, baby, in the NFL.
Yeah, but I think the Rams can control their destiny. I think they will end up winning the NFC West in a little bit of a surprise, I think. I don't think everybody was expecting them to be 9-4 at this point in the season.
No,
but, I mean, yeah, they control their own destiny. I think they do it. They have enough. And that defense can carry them to an NFC West title.
I mean, it definitely could happen. But just point out some of the comments we're seeing in the chat. Good old Jimmy, thanks for watching, bud. Said that it's hard for a bad coach to going with more GOAT and no off season. With more reps preseason, Cam might have had a great year. I can agree to that to a certain extent, but we can say that for literally any team. Let's look at Carson Wentz, for instance. That dude is hot garbage because a lot of the team got hit with injuries, no preseason, no way to be able to really prep for the season. And he had a kid in there. What are you thinking, bro? So at the end of the day, it really affected everybody. But we do have a crazy slate of games, though, that we got to talk about. And one team that was not affected by very much last week was the New York Giants, who are now 5-7 after upsetting the Seattle Seahawks, and will now be taking on the 6-6 Arizona Cardinals at MetLife Stadium. Giants are not favored in this. Arizona Cardinals by 2.5, but quarterback Daniel Jones has been set to be the starter for this game. So injury be damned, he is playing. So definitely going to be their best shot at winning this. I think this is going to be a lot closer of a game than people think. However, I think they had to pour it all out on the line just for Seattle, and I think Arizona's going to be able to come in and pull the narrow win here.
I mean, we're talking about the fact that at 5-7, the Giants control their own destiny because they have the tiebreakers right now to win the NFC East. That's wild.
Yeah.
Next game on the slate, Denver Broncos are 4-8, traveling to Carolina, who are also 4-8. This one's on CBS. The over-under's at 44.5, and the Panthers are favored by 3.5. I had some notes on this game. Internet's not working properly at the moment, and of course, it's not cooperating. So I'm just going to have to take a shot here and try to remember what I had. But the Panthers are favored by 3.5. They're at home. I believe McCaffrey is playing. I could be wrong, and I got more stuff going on. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on here.
Oh, man.
This is
Technology
a whole lot of
over.
Yeah, it's taking over here, and it's a hell of a lot of fun to do this live. So, Carolina, I believe McCaffrey's playing again this week. If he is, I think he's going to be the catalyst to help Carolina can get a win here and move on.
Oh, yeah, definitely could happen, and we'll see how that works out. In our next game, though, we have the 8-4 Tennessee Titans traveling on down to Jacksonville to take on the 1-11 Jaguars. Man, it sucks to be a Jaguars fan right now. Tennessee favored by 7.5. Tennessee, they got Derrick Henry. So, I mean, last time I said this, I was told, Chris, you're crazy. Derrick Henry, he was owned by the Colts. There's no way he could play another good game against the Colts. And then he went out and absolutely dominated them. I think we ended up with a meme out of it, too. So, when I say Derrick Henry's going to run wild, you guys got to listen. Derrick Henry going to run wild, and the Titans are going to win this game and cover.
Next game on the slate is a pretty big matchup in the AFC. 11-1 Kansas City Chiefs are traveling to Miami with the 8-4 Dolphins. Dolphins are +7 here. Over-unders at 50.5. Dolphins running back Myles Gaskin's going to be out due to COVID. But, we just got an update in the chat. Devin said that McCaffrey is listed as out for this week officially. Thank you for that. I appreciate the update there. And what else we got? Oh, Jimmy said we're broadcasting live from the Bermuda Triangle. Absolutely. This part of Florida is all about the dead zone. So
hey, but we got them spaceships.
Yeah, but we got them spaceships out here. Maybe that's what the problem is.
Got jets.
Maybe that's what that problem is. I don't think it's going to matter with Myles Gaskin whether he's out or not. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are gonna they're not gonna roll, but I think they'll win pretty comfortably here, and they'll move on to 12-1.
Very nice, very nice. Our next game, though, don't mind me. I'm still like munching over here.
In a live broadcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Because you
didn't take care of that before the show.
Because when you live my life with 4 kids, everything is crazy. But we do have the 3-9 Dallas Cowboys taking on the 2-9-1 Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals are Cowboys are favored by 3. Ezekiel Elliott is set to play with a bruised calf, so he will play through the injury. Man, when you want to talk about crap team perfection, I know that's become a thing on this show now. All I can think of is because when it's a giant douche versus a turd sandwich, you don't really get much of anything to work with here. This game is honestly a gimme. It's a battle of crap teams that have had massive injuries at quarterback with no Joe Burrow, no Dak Prescott, and this game is going to be a crap bowl. It's really going to be a lot of running, very little passing, and I think you're going to see a low-scoring affair. I'd like to say that Dallas could edge this out, but Cincinnati easily could win this. But you know what? Just because I don't like Dallas, Cincinnati wins this by a field goal and an upset.
Next game, we got the Houston Texans and the Chicago Bears. This game's going to be in Chicago. My internet is really doing a number on me today over here. This is going to be on CBS. Chicago is a 1.5-point underdog. Over/under set at 46. And even with as good as Chicago's defense has been, they've been top 10 all year, but now they're struggling because that offense is so bad. I mean, you've got Foles and Trubisky. Neither one of them can really do anything, and really it comes down from Matt Nagy. You can tell that play calling's been an issue. Overall, they haven't been doing well on offense, and I think this is where a team like the Texans, even with Deshaun Watson losing DeAndre Hopkins, he's actually off to a better year this year than he was in years past with DeAndre Hopkins on the field. I think that's going to be the difference maker here, and I think Texans are going to cover, and they're going to keep rolling here with interim head coach Romeo Crennel at the helm. That coaching change really, I think, has done pretty well for Houston. I think they keep it rolling, and Bears fall to 5-8. Texans win.
Oh, yeah, definitely could happen. And to answer your question, George, in the chat, no, it is not Dunkin' Donuts. My beautiful and amazing wife made me breakfast this morning because she knew that I would be in a hurry because, showbiz, baby. But at the end of the day, a lot of things could happen with a lot of these games. And also, I saw it also in the chat, George trying to say that Gaskin is in. No, he is out. Reported yesterday at 4:30. Gaskin is on the COVID-19 list, completely out for that game. So, yeah, you have that. Anyways, in our next game, we have the 6-6 Minnesota Vikings traveling on down to Tampa to take on the 7-5 Brady-led Buccaneers. Bucs are favored by 7, but this could be a very interesting game. Tampa Bay's been massively inconsistent, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Defense, though, still looking pretty stout for the most part. When the offense is not putting them in bad position. So this game's going to have a lot of give and take. I think it's going to be very close. Dalvin Cook's going to be able to move this ball, but not quite as successful as he has in other games this year. I think this is really going to come down to the wire and possibly to whoever actually has the ball last. And honestly, this could be a very exciting game. But I am going to say that at home, Tampa Bay will take the win very narrowly. But I'm going to think the Vikings are going to cover.
Man, how much disappointment has the Buccaneers been this year? Falling to 7-5, and when Brady goes there, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, they're Super Bowl bound." It's like aging quarterback. As much as I love him, aging quarterback in a brand new system with new personnel, new head coach, new scheme. Don't expect the world in the first year. This ain't like the NBA where LeBron can go to Miami with couple other stars and immediately make the finals. That's not how this works in the NFL.
Exactly. So
not how this works. Moving on to the 405 window, this is going to be a pretty interesting matchup to me. I'm glad I got this one here. We got the Colts at 8-4 traveling out to Las Vegas to play against the 7-5 Raiders. This one's on CBS. Raiders are 3-point underdogs, and the over/under is at 52.5. Really looking at the matchups here. You want to take a look at Phillip Rivers. What's he going to be doing? He's been a little up and down throughout the year, but he's still, he's got to limit those turnovers. If he can limit those turnovers, the Raiders have been pretty good, but they haven't been good enough to close out games. And the Colts are still in the hunt here for, playoff positioning and division positioning. So I'm going to take the Colts on the road to take the W here.
Oh man. I mean, I think Jimmy's crying a little bit right now. Don't worry, Jimmy. I think Vegas has
Sorry,
a shot.
Jimmy.
I think Vegas has a shot. Anyways, in our other 405 game, we have the 0-12 New York Jets that are truly pursuing crap team perfection, traveling out to Seattle to take on the 8-4 Seahawks, who lost to the the New York Giants. Excuse me, just last week. Seahawks are favored by 14.5 in this one. Even though Seattle somehow lost to the New York Football Giants, I don't see any way in hell that the Jets are going to be able to pull off the same and have a New York sweep of Seattle this year. It's not going to happen. The Jets are way under-talented, undermanned. They are not going to be able to do anything. There's a reason the Jets are 0-12, and you will see why as the Seahawks will win this game, and they're definitely going to more than cover because Jets are going 0-16. Jets are tanking. If the Raiders taught us anything, the Jets are tanking. So more on that later, but yeah, Seattle definitely takes this one.
Two things that helped out that Seattle Giants game. Sluggish offense and a solid defense for the Giants. Who would have thought that the Giants defense would actually step up and be half-ass decent?
Yeah.
But that's what played into that. I mean, that's when you can force a guy like Russell Wilson to make mistakes and not be in rhythm, you've got a chance.
Absolutely. Man.
Washington Football Club, depending on if you're JDM or if you're us.
Identity crisis.
They're traveling out to San Francisco. Both teams are 5-7. This is in the 425 window on Fox. San Francisco's favored by 3, and the over/under is at 43.5. 2 words for this game: revenge game. Washington takes the win. Washington travels out west, gets the upset. Their defense has been playing well enough, and Alex Smith, what a story.
Yes.
If anyone else, if he does not win Comeback Player of the Year, which he already should have, if he doesn't win Comeback Player of the Year, there's something wrong in the NFL. But he's been playing pretty well. He's been playing a lot better than any of us could have ever expected out of him. But
absolutely.
This is just the second time that he's playing San Francisco, coming off that injury. I think Washington's going to play inspired football, and that defense has been playing well against opposing quarterbacks. So I don't think it matters who the quarterback's going to be for the 49ers. Garoppolo, if they bench him for Mullins or Beathard, it doesn't matter. I think Washington's going to end up taking this one on the road.
Oh, yeah, it definitely could happen, and we'll definitely see how that one plays out. Definitely will be interesting. But in another game of an NFC East team, the New Orleans Saints at 10-2 are going to travel on up to Philadelphia to take on the 3-8-1 Eagles, who are going to be having a little bit of a change in the backfield as quarterback Jalen Hurts will make his first ever career start in place of the, I guess, less than thrilling Carson Wentz, who's been having a myriad of just different issues and mistakes and injuries, including, Jason Peters now being out for the year after undergoing toe surgery. So that makes both starting tackles out for the year. Man, I'm not going to lie. It's getting hard in the city of brotherly love. Like, I don't feel the love right now. All I feel is a lot of pain and a lot of anguish, 3 wins. Man.
So we can already, like, it's a foregone conclusion Eagles are going to lose. But so here's my question for you. Is Doug Peterson in Philadelphia next year?
I think he will be, just because the team also publicly came out this morning and said they are still committed to Carson Wentz and getting him back on track. We're in a crazy year. It's 2020. Like we said earlier, no one really had any prep time for this season. The Eagles have been dealing with so many injuries left and right across the entire offensive line, wide receiver core, defense as a whole. There's been issues everywhere, more so than most any other team would deal with, to the point where the Philadelphia Eagles have started more starting rotations than any other team in the entire league. So
where have I heard this? It sounds like a broken record, because this is exactly the stuff you were saying last year. This is exactly the same stuff
except we actually, except we were actually a 500 team last year, but now it's just gotten worse.
Players that aren't going to get hurt.
It's COVID, man. Give them a break. They've had enough. They're a dead horse.
Jimmy has coined one of your phrases here. Carson, less than thrilling Wentz. That's his new nickname.
Yes.
Carson, or better from the bench.
Oh my god.
That's great.
Oh,
that's great.
I'm dying inside. But yeah.
I don't think. See, now I can tell you over 20 million reasons why Doug Peterson's going to be gone next year. Because the fact that if Carson Wentz is not on the Eagles roster, not even cut, not even traded, but if he's just not on the Eagles roster, it's more than $20 million in dead cap space for the Eagles over the next 2 years each, over $20 million each. There's no way Wentz is going to leave or be gone from Philadelphia. You got to make a change somewhere, I think Doug Peterson, unfortunately, is going to be the byproduct of that.
No, I don't think he will, just because at the end of the day, we've seen teams be able to go through reorganization of duties inside of an organization to be able to get back to success, so to speak. So at the end of the day, I think if next year ends up being garbage, Doug Peterson definitely is gone. But I think given all the things stacked against the team and against Doug Peterson in this season alone, I think they'll give him another shot just on merit. Because he did win a Super Bowl, let's not forget.
With that is true. Now, but here's this. Doug Peterson's been calling all the plays.
Yes.
Does he give up the duties?
I think he needs to. I think he needs to. And I think he needs to bring in a legitimate offensive coordinator that is able to have the kind of mindset that he has to be able to run this offense. You need to get someone that can really work with Carson Wentz and get him to where he is. Doug Peterson is not some just quarterback whisperer of some kind. People think this is something that Doug Peterson has done when they ended up winning a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. No, Nick Foles is a good quarterback. He just only plays good in an Eagles uniform, which he has proven twice. So at the end of the day, you can't discount the fact that Nick Foles was good, that Carson Wentz at that time was good before the injury, and that Doug Peterson was just in a good situation with a lot of talent around him. And now we've seen what happens when he loses that talent, when guys are injured, when you literally have your entire offense depleted to where all you have left is Carson Wentz and Jason Kelce to be able to go out and beat the Giants. So at the end of the day, there's so much stacked against this team. Doug Peterson just needs to make the right call. If he doesn't, it could be an early exit next year. If he does and they still don't get it together, then he still needs to be out. So either way, he's going to have to prove himself, I think, next season. But no matter what, Eagles ain't winning today, so it doesn't matter. Saints roll 11-2.
All right. Now we moved on from your team. We're moving on to my team. Detroit is going to be hosting the 9-3 Packers. Detroit's 5-7. They've been a much different football team under Darrell Bevell, who's the interim head coach, since the firing of Fat Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn. But this game's going to be on Fox. Over-unders at 55, and the Lions are 8.5-point underdogs. This is a tough one because the Lions have been playing a lot better under Bevel, and I know we're only talking about like one game here, but that can change a lot of things. And yes, the Packers are playing very well. Packers can clinch the division with a win, and Rodgers is 16-5 against the Detroit Lions as a starter. I think the Lions will cover, but I think the Packers will win. I would love to pick the Lions here in a monster upset, especially being at home. But we've got no crowds. There's nothing's gonna really come out of it. But if the Lions want to have a chance, they're going to have to get to Aaron Rodgers. They're gonna have to try to, they're gonna have to put some pressure on him, and they're gonna have to watch out for Devontae Adams, who is on a monster season right now. But I think it'll be a little bit too much. Packers offense is gonna be a little bit too much here. And the Packers will win the NFC North, as much as that hurts to say. Packers move to 10-3 and win the NFC North.
Yeah, but at least you saying the Packers are winning the NFC North is believable, Saying Detroit Lions win the NFC North, see, it doesn't have as much ring and punch to it, you know what I mean? So, it makes sense.
We would have to hope to win out the season, and the Packers are going to have to lose out to have a tie at 9-7, and then we would host the tiebreaker at that point.
I mean,
if we beat the Packers.
We've seen a 6 seed win the Super Bowl, so crazier things can happen, right? Just saying.
You're right.
So, hey, game starts here. Either way, though, in reality, though, hey, it's okay. Next game, we have the 4-8 Atlanta Falcons traveling out west to LA to take on the 3-9 Chargers. Let me English today. The Falcons are somehow favored by 1, but hey, it's okay. Still no Julio. And Matt Ryan's got to try and figure out this defense, which hasn't been too hard for a lot of teams. Chargers were expected to be a little bit better of a team, but hey, 3-9, I guess.
Real quick, I just double checked. That actually line is flipped now. The Chargers are favored by 1.
See, look at this. They can't even
as of this morning.
See, no one knows what they're doing anymore. Anyways, either way,
damn those odds makers.
Damn your odds makers. I think the Falcons, though, have a really good shot to win this game no matter what. Matt Ryan is still a really good quarterback, and he still is going to be able to sling it against a pretty porous defense. So that's something they're going to be able to use to their advantage, as well as being able to probably have some type of a running game to speak of. If they can at least get it going a little bit, they should be okay. The Falcons' defense is really what the question is going to be. If they can contain God, I can't even think of his name right now. The quarterback for the Chargers. I can't English or think today. Justin Herbert. If they can contain Justin Herbert, they should be okay. Justin Herbert is a good talent, and he will butt into a good quarterback. But, hey, you're a rookie, bro. Welcome to the maturation process. So I think he's going to have a couple mistakes today. I think the Falcons will win this. It's a 1-point spread. This is crazy. Either way, Falcons are going to win it. They're going to move on to 5-8.
In our Sunday night matchup, this is probably going to be one of the top matchup of the weekend. 11-1 Pittsburgh, who, oh yeah, by the way, somebody called the upset alert to watch out, and Chris made fun of me for it.
I can't be right all the time, I guess.
But who's laughing now? I called it. Pittsburgh's 11-1, the weakest 11-1 team in the history of the NFL. On a Sunday night NBC game, 9-3 Buffalo Bills. Chris, never tell me the odds, Wilson. Channeling your dinner on Solo.
Yes.
Never tell me the odds. Buffalo's favored by 2.5 right now. That line has changed from 2 to 2.5. Over-unders at 48.5. This is going to be an interesting game because you've got a couple different things at play here. You've got the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, which has been one of the top defenses in the NFL most of the season, albeit the fact that they played against a bunch of weak offenses and banged up offenses. But that's neither here nor there. Salt on it. Yeah. Well, you know what?
Just a little salt.
Buffalo's gonna win here. I think one thing that you're gonna look at is that Buffalo's Buffalo's defense has been keeping them in games, and Josh Allen he's been playing well. He's had AFC Player of the Week for the last 2 weeks in a row. And really one thing, kind of a little like minor detail to pay attention to, is the Steelers have to stop dropping passes. The Steelers have a league high 34 drops
That's huge.
on the year. And the fact that you're still 11-1 and you have all those drops from your wide receiver core and your tight ends, which is led the way by Eric Dickhands Ebron. I think the Bills, especially at home, it's gonna be a good enough atmosphere. Again, there's no fans. I understand that, and that would really be a difference maker. But I'm gonna be the difference maker is gonna be Josh Allen, I think. And Pittsburgh's defense has been good, but they have a couple of injuries at different spots that are really going to be hurtful. As long as the Buffalo Bills offensive line can slow down TJ Watt. I was about to say JJ Watt, but it's TJ Watt, who is right now, he's on another level. If you saw earlier this week, his brother JJ Watt was out parading him out on Twitter saying that he needs to be the defensive player of the year. And I agree. I mean, TJ Watt has been on another level on defense this year. If the Buffalo Bills can contain him, contain his pass rush, and allow Josh Allen some time to make plays, I think the Bills take it.
It definitely could happen. It'd be interesting, but let's also keep in mind, I don't even know if we mentioned it, the Steelers did not leave for this game until this morning because of COVID. So, excuse me. So with that in mind, do you think that, them having that late travel is going to possibly affect them for this game too?
I think it will. I mean, it would. We talk about this a lot over this whole season because of COVID. These players, these NFL players and just professional athletes, they're used to routines. You're used to routines. You get in a couple days early, you do your walkthroughs, you stay at the hotel, you do the team meals and all that. But when you don't leave until the morning of the game, that's going to throw a lot of things off. So I think that will play into it. I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers come out a little sluggish because of that. But yeah, I think it absolutely will have an effect.
Definitely. We'll definitely see how it works out. But in our Monday night game, we have the 7-5 Baltimore Ravens traveling on over to Cleveland to take on the 9-3 Browns. Browns, even being at 9-3 and 2 games ahead of the Ravens, are not favored in this. Ravens are favored by 3. Honestly, though, this could be kind of a little bit of a trap game if you think about it, though, because this really could go either way. Ravens and Browns have been playing really close as of the past couple of seasons, except for the beginning of the year. But either way, the Browns, though, 9-3 is the best Browns team we've seen. I think this is the first time they're going to have a winning record in 10 years, I think. So it's absolutely amazing to see what the Browns have been able to do this year, really, even though their 3 losses pretty much were, blowouts. But hey, and one of them was to the Ravens. So, yeah. No, this game's going to be crazy, though. Lamar Jackson's going to, I think, have a field day a little bit with this defense, but the defense will get to him, and it's going to be just like a war of attrition. You'll see big chunk plays coming out of the Ravens to be able to get them up the field, but they're not going to be able to grind it out and be methodical like they normally are with their RPO approach. So what's going to end up happening is you're just going to see this big war of attrition. I think this is going to be kind of a low 20s to mid 20s scoring kind of game. It's going to be a real gut out, and I think it's going to come down to whoever has the ball last and who's ever able to get the key stops on defense. So that being said, I'm going to say it's going to be the Browns are going to pull it up against the Ravens being at home, are going to get to 10 wins for the first time, I believe, since 2010. And
it's been a long time.
It's been a long time, but I think the Browns are going to do it, man. And you're going to see the Ravens fall to 7-6, and there's going to be a lot of questions in that locker room.
Yeah, if with Lamar Jackson coming back does make a big difference. They do have a lot of weapons that they could utilize, but it's really gonna, in my opinion, go. And you mentioned with the Browns you have that war of attrition. Can the Browns establish a running game? They didn't have Nick Chubb the last time they played against the Ravens.
That's right.
So having that having him in the backfield to help kind of control the clock is going to help big time. It's really going to be, can Baker Mayfield not make mistakes? And he's had season lows of average passing yards per game, but you see the win totals are going up. So that should tell you right there is you need to help Baker Mayfield don't make him make too many decisions.
Right.
Because if that is the case, he's got a lot of weapons. He's going to force the ball where it shouldn't go, and that's how you get your turnovers, and that's how you really have the is Baker the answer questions come up.
Exactly. So if he's able to keep the mistakes to a minimum, be able to stay on top of his game, don't overcomplicate things, and they shouldn't have too much of an issue. But we'll definitely see how it works out. Definitely check out all the games today. And then also come see us next week when we do more coverage going into Week 15 of the NFL season. But something else we're trying to give some more coverage for. See, I love doing these segues. It's just so easy.
Talking about that. You're talking about the Podcast City Network merchandise shop.
I think I am. What can you tell us about that, bud?
Well, at PCN Shop, whether it's a neck gaiter to protect you from COVID-19, a mug for your morning coffee, or just a T-shirt, you want to represent the network or represent your favorite show, we've got you covered. You can get all the latest apparel and gear for your favorite podcast, like FinalScore, on Podcast City Network, or just by supporting the network itself. Go to podcastcity.net/shop and check out the lineup, everything we have. We're always trying to add new merchandise, and remember, we get a percent of that. A percent of all sales go back to us to help put back into the network to help out our shows and to help out your favorite shows. So go online, podcastcity.net/shop to support Podcast City Network.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely check out all the great stuff we have going on over there. We even got year one shirts like the one I'm wearing here. A lot of great stuff, so definitely make sure to check it out. But now we got to switch on over and talk a little bit about hockey, because now we have some clarity. Now we have some hard news, because the NHL and the Players Association have come to an agreement on their financial disputes. Issues are now dealt with. We now have a prospective start date for next season set for January 13th. And big thing that was going through all this is that a lot of people were worried that Gary Bettman was going to try and pull out of all this, but they are not backing out of the CBA. They are trying to keep this all together. So, buddy, we got hockey.
I'm excited. We got hockey finally, and it's always been a back and forth with the two sports that have always had problems with labor issues, the NHL and Major League Baseball.
Absolutely.
So it's good to see that we knew COVID was going to affect not one season, but multiple seasons in professional sports, especially these winter sports. So I'm glad to see they came to an agreement. Whether whether there's any final fallouts here over the next couple weeks, let's hope not.
Hopefully
But if
not.
all stands pat and all goes well, we will finally have hockey, which is exciting. January 13th, I'm excited. I hope there's a little bit more coverage and excitement around the country for hockey, because they did the bubble thing. I feel like sports have been they've been pushed. The big ones have been pushed by ESPN, but other sports like NHL, everyone apparently already forgot that the Lightning won last year in the bubble. Everyone just forgets about hockey because it's not broadcasted on ESPN, unfortunately. So I hope it's a much better season, and we'll see how many games they end up going with. They're deciding between, I believe, 52 or 56 games right now. So we'll see what happens. I'm just excited hockey's back, though.
Oh, I am too. And from a lot of the reports coming out, they said that it's been really amazing to see how it's been progressing, because they've been in talks every single day, trying to get these plans finalized, trying to get things figured out, really trying to stay committed to making sure that hockey does get played for the upcoming season in some way. They're going to be doing the temporary divisional realignment, which is going to help with travel costs and also mitigating issues with COVID, as well as trying to work with the Canadian government to make sure things work on that side as well, because there's a proposed all Canadian division, and that right now everything would be basically split into 4 divisions. So it's cool to see how this has progressed. And the Players Association even said the players are more united than they've ever been in a long time. And even one veteran NHLPA rep saying that they believe the players are on the same page. They said for the first time in a long while. So it's amazing just kind of see how everybody's become united, trying to make sure that we have this. Obviously, NHL owners, though, are still trying to find ways for cash flow. If you recall, though, the Sports Business Journal reported this past Monday that NBA teams are going to receive $30 million each from the league to help with finances and to protect against any liquidity issues due to the pandemic. You knew what I was trying to say. You knew what I was going
I knew what you were trying to say. I don't know if they knew what you were trying to say.
No, they definitely didn't know what I was trying to say. I mean, come on. This is why we had an NBA names quiz at one point. But at the end of the day, the NHL is going to probably try and do something similar is what the expected approach is going to be. But everybody committed to try and make this happen because you know what? It's 2020. It's COVID. It sucks. It's going to stretch in the next year. It doesn't magically disappear on January 1st or January 21st, as the case may be. So, you know, at the end of the day, I'm just glad to see that it's all coming together. And God, we're going to get hockey. I love it. Yes.
And what you just mentioned from the Sports Business Journal and the NBA doing that as a league for the teams and the owners, that just is another. It's just another point that shows you that the NBA is probably the most well-run league in the United States, and it just overall, whether it's players, in favor of players, owners. Them being able to do that, I would be interested to see if the NHL decides to do something like that too. I don't know if they will because, like you said, they've already got disputes and the owners are going to want to take it from the players, and it's going to be a lot of stuff. So excited the NHL is back though, and I know our guy JDM is excited as well.
Oh, for
it's gonna be good. I'm excited.
Oh yeah, definitely going to be a lot of great stuff, and we'll definitely have some more news and things concerning the NHL and hockey in general coming up very soon from different sources. So definitely make sure to keep your eyes peeled. A lot of stuff we always got going on. So, you never know. But a lot of great stuff always going on. Also, with FinalScore and all the great content platforms that we're on, which you can find us on a myriad of different content platforms, including Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, TuneIn, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts. We're also on CastBox, if I'm not mistaken. And you can also find us on Podcast City Network at podcastcity.net/FinalScore, where you can find our entire hub of every single platform that we are on. If you don't see it on there, let us know, and we'll get it on there. But definitely make sure to check us out. Give us a like, give us a follow, and check out all the great stuff that we have to offer. And this past week, though, college football gave us a lot, had a whole bunch to offer, and then some games got canceled. And that's where we ended up, with half of the interesting games canceled. And then we just watched blowout after blowout. And, oh, yeah, I guess I got to put this out there, too, because I had a spirited, is the word I'll use to describe him, a spirited Hurricanes fan tell me that Notre Dame couldn't hold their jockstrap to the Hurricanes. How them Tar Heels taste, bro. Just saying. I'm just saying.
Man.
Like, hey, we dominated North Carolina, and then North Carolina dominates Miami 62-26. I mean, are they really that good?
Well, the big storyline here is you already mentioned it. We had 6 games in the top 25 canceled or postponed. And postponed, really canceled at this point. 6 games in the top 25, including number 4 Ohio State hosting Michigan, number 5 Texas A&M, a top 25 matchup of number 8 Cincinnati and 24 Tulsa, and a couple games in the Big 12. That's really college football is just it's in a different spot. Like college sports in general, which we'll get to college basketball next as well. But I mean, all these games, you're starting to see teams now opt out of bowl games, which I'm not surprised. But
already
really,
a few teams.
Yeah, already have a couple teams there. But of the games that actually did play, the biggest one that we probably want to touch on is Florida got upset by LSU. Like Florida for all the, and it's funny because if you were paying attention to CBS Sports yesterday, they were talking about on their they have a Cover 3 segment, and they were talking about it yesterday about how against the spread in Florida usually comes out sluggish, and if they come out sluggish, like they're going to potentially have LSU cover the spread, and they even took it a step further. LSU got the upset, and it's really surprising because of the fact that LSU, not only have they lost a bunch of players because of the NFL draft, they've just been losing players in general. Like Ed Ogeron has already come out in the last couple of weeks and said that he needs grad transfers coming in for next year to step up and play. If you're saying that about your own players, how bad does that make you as a coach that you're not recruiting the right players to come in and step in for those guys that have gone to the NFL, that won you a national championship? Now you're saying, oh, we need grad transfers to come in and play well. Like, they were already basically mailing it in, so I'm kind of surprised that they even got up for this game. But they did, and now Florida is out of the playoff. There's a potentially might still be in a New Year's Six Bowl, but probably just by default because they've played enough games. I just think it's hilarious because for all the hype that Dan Mullen and Kyle Trask have been getting, Kyle Trask potentially a Heisman candidate because his numbers are on par with Joe Burrow and he's breaking records. Number 6, and you got, 2 losses on the season now?
Yep. No playoff for you.
That'll do it. No playoff for you.
Absolutely. But it also makes it more interesting because think about this aspect. If Florida now turns around and goes in and somehow, by some stroke of luck, and beats Alabama, that's going to turn the entire college football playoff on its freaking head in so many different ways. So, and it'll even get worse if Clemson, no matter how you look at it, if Clemson does somehow beat Notre Dame, that's also going to call things into question. And you're going to end up with the most topsy-turvy college football playoff to go with the most topsy-turvy year we've ever had. And it'll just be pure pandemonium. And I think everything might just melt. So, it's going to be interesting to see how all this plays out. Obviously, though, I don't think Florida has a shot whatsoever against Alabama. I think Alabama's going to dominate and roll. Florida.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's for as high-powered as Florida's offense is, I mean, Kyle Trask did throw for almost 500 yards, but the big question about Florida has been their defense. And that's really what's let them down in their 2 losses is their defense. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think Alabama, they destroyed Arkansas yesterday 52-3. They're going to roll again to the playoff and undefeated SEC champion. So that'll be intriguing. But yeah, out of the ACC, you've already and if you're Miami, I don't blame you for getting destroyed by North Carolina because of the fact that the ACC has already screwed you from the start. So now listen to this. Because they were 7-1, they had a chance. What did they do? Is when they brought in Notre Dame for obvious reasons. You want Notre Dame. Everybody's wanted Notre Dame in their conference for years. Let's just put that out of the way.
I know it.
But the fact that Miami was actually in a chance to be in the ACC championship picture, and then already within the last week or two, the ACC came out and announced that it's going to be Clemson versus Notre Dame in the ACC championship game. How bad do you got to feel if you're on that Miami team and your team has been hosed by your own conference?
Yeah,
I don't blame them. I don't blame them for not getting. No. I don't blame them for not getting up for this game because there's nothing to play for anymore.
Well, yeah, sure. But at the end of the day, Miami was not one that was going to be selected to make any kind of real noise. North Carolina was picked to finish ahead of Miami in the ACC rankings even before Notre Dame had decided to join the conference. So it's not like Miami was really thought to have a realistic shot anyways. However, when you're Miami and you almost lose to Virginia Tech, you get blown out by Clemson, you get blown out by North Carolina, and you play a bunch of smaller schools that really you should be blowing out yourselves if you want to say that you're a national contender or even an ACC title contender, and you're playing everybody close. You're not a true contender. You're a pretender. The Hurricanes have always been pretenders. The Hurricanes have been pretenders since 2002. All right, the Hurricanes are not that team of lore anymore that won 5 national titles and had The Rock playing defensive end for them. This isn't that team anymore. This isn't Ray Lewis's Miami. This isn't Ed Reed's Miami. This is crap Miami. All right. This is a shell of its former self. Not saying that Miami can't get to that point.
I'm not talking about history. I'm talking about this year.
Exactly.
I mean, you're not wrong.
And this
you're
year
not wrong,
is another year in a long run of years that this team has been pursuing the college version of crap team perfection. Except they try to make it look good, but it's just not quite good enough.
Oh, it's funny.
The U is not back. Sorry, guys. The U is not back.
Funny. Hey, no. If by back you mean they're back from the cellar, then yes, they're back. Because I mean, 8 wins is nothing to snuff at for this program that was, doing really, really on down times, and they had all those scandals down there. But I do want to bring up a good point here. Devin in our chat also pointed out the fact that LSU is on limited scholarship penalty. He said, and he did bring up a point. They are one of 2 teams that declined the bowl, but they did it because of a self-imposed ban. That is true, but they didn't even announce they were doing it until after the fact. They already knew they were having a losing season. They didn't do it before the season, to my knowledge. I could be wrong on that, but I know that I think I heard that earlier this week or a couple weeks ago, they did announce they're doing a self-imposed ban. Of course, when you're 4-5 or 3-5 at the time, you're going to do your self-imposed ban now so that way you can try to retool and get back in the playoff picture for the next year. But another game I want to touch on very quickly is the Chanticleers, Coastal Carolina, undefeated, 11-0. They're number 13. They had a scare against Troy on the road. Scare against Troy on the road, coming off that big high of having the last-minute game against BYU, winning that. That was an interesting game there. I don't know. Did you have a chance to watch that game at all?
I didn't get to watch a lot of it. I actually ended up catching the late game between BYU and San Diego State. But I heard the Chanticleers, man, they had a battle with Troy. It ended up being just a 4-point game. Grayson McCall playing out of his mind, 24 of 29, 338 yards and 3 touchdowns. Just killing it for Coastal, and it's crazy to see what they've been able to do. I feel like in a normal year, if things fall in the right way, this team might be making a push into that top 10, but, with COVID and everything, and obviously the insanity known as the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, who somehow still have Ohio State as number 4, Coastal's not going to get a fair shakedown. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry for fans of the Chanticleers, but
even in a real season, the Chanticleers are still going to get a New Year's Six Bowl as being the best of 5, potentially. Now, that also depends on Cincinnati, if they're eligible for that. Now, if Cincinnati's not eligible for that, I would love to see Coastal Carolina in that spot. But Coastal Carolina wasn't going to get a shot in the playoff anyway. Let's just be honest here. Yes, there's some huge rigging here to get Ohio State into the playoff picture.
Yeah.
Even with like the 3 games they've actually played this year.
You had one job, Michigan.
But no. Actually, Michigan did a great job because you now, by canceling this game for the safety of your players, which should be first and foremost, but second, Michigan saved themselves the embarrassment of getting destroyed by 60 points. And by canceling the game, Ohio State was now not eligible to make the Big Ten championship game, and they forced the Big Ten's hand by changing the rules for them, which is going to show more conspiracy. I love it. I love it. I love it.
You know what's funny? Because now
that's the biggest middle finger. That's the biggest middle finger we could give to the Ohio State Buckeyes without actually playing them.
That was the second biggest middle finger, because now I gotta reach back down, pick this mic back up, and drop it again, because you, sir, just showed your bias that everybody else shares with Ohio State, is that Ohio State is somehow some type of juggernaut, when in reality they are nothing but a little dinky fairy walking across the ground, because their best win was by 7 points against Indiana. Let me say that again. 7 points against Indiana. Indiana is a fraud unto themselves. The Big Ten is weak. Every team they beat, except for Indiana, doesn't have more than 2 wins. Okay? The Big Ten is a sham. Michigan had a legitimate shot to beat Ohio State. That's right.
This
I'm gonna
year?
ring it.
No.
Yes,
No.
I'm ringing it true.
Not even
because
close. No.
even with my team playing good, I can
No.
say that Michigan could have had a chance to upset Ohio State because Ohio State are frauds. Justin Fields is a fraud. He's a good quarterback. He might be good in the NFL. I don't think he will be. But Ohio State is a fraud, does not deserve to be in the top 10, let alone the playoffs.
I love the fact that you gave my team a vote of confidence, but
it's only against Ohio State just because it's rivalry.
Michigan has so many players that opted out of the season. They have players that are transferring out. We're losing talented players. Jim Harbaugh, unfortunately, needs to go, but it's the truth. But there's no way in hell that Michigan would have a chance against Ohio State this year. And I'm saying it as a diehard Michigan fan.
And that's why the games are played, sir. And that's why
there's no way.
And you know what? Nobody said a 3-5 LSU was going to upset number 6 Florida last night, and look what happened. And that's exactly what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. Ohio State is just as good as Florida. Just saying, you guys had a shot because Michigan could have just beaten Ohio State, and we could have just avoided the whole conversation to begin with.
I would have loved it, but I would have hated it because that would have saved Jimbo's job. And then he would have stayed again for another disappointing season.
That's
true.
I
love it.
I mean, but I'm okay with that, so.
Devin called Coastal Carolina the COVID Cinderella 2020. I love that.
COVID
Can we make that a meme?
2020. Devin, that is amazing.
Yes, can we make that a meme? I love it.
Yes, we got to get that into a meme. That is too good. Oh, man. Oh,
I love it.
Kills me.
But all the other games, I mean, Colorado got upset by Utah. They were top 21, but I mean, that really wasn't going to do anything. But now we got to move forward and look forward to next week, which I believe it's doing one more week and then bowl week, correct?
Yeah, you have conference championship week and any makeup games and stuff that are going to get kind of squeezed in, and then it's bowling time.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because the last topic for college football is going to be touching on the fact that a couple of teams have opted out of playing in bowl games, being Boston College and Pitt.
And LSU.
Now, do you think more? Well, yeah, LSU did a self-imposed ban, but again, there's other reasons behind that. But do you think more teams are going to opt out?
Absolutely, 100%. I think you're going to end up seeing a large number of teams. Now, the big question is going to be is, oh my God, Devin just killed me again. I'm sorry. Anywhere, anytime, cough, BYU. That is the best thing I have seen. I love that because I love the approach when they took that game against Coastal, and Coastal came in and was able to stop them on the 1-yard line for the win. So, yeah, Devin's killing me. I'm loving this. But
I love it.
When you start looking at it, there's going to be a lot of teams, especially when they got away from the 6-win minimum to be able to make a bowl game and having a winning record and all that, which we've already seen kind of fall by the wayside. But you're going to see a lot of teams get that shot that are just going to turn it down because it's either going to be extremely weak matchups. You're still going to be looking at teams that are going to be looking at the COVID risk a lot more than anything else. And it's just not going to be worth it. Boston College and Pittsburgh I consider to be definitely middle-of-the-road teams, but they're pretty decent middle-of-the-road teams that people would watch in a bowl game, even outside of their own fan followings, and they're even opting out. And these are Power 5 schools opting out. So you're going to see a lot of small schools that are probably going to pick up the mantle, try and give themselves some exposure. But really, I think you're going to see a lot of these bigger Power 5 schools start opting out that aren't going to actually reach either their conference championship or the playoff.
A little bit further on that point, and I think you're going to see teams that opt out are from schools that have seen COVID hit hard in their areas.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
Boston College is one. They said they've had more than they've administered more than 9,000 COVID tests, and they got significant player input, and the players decided not to do a bowl game this year. So I think from schools that have, like Michigan's one where they didn't even want to play a season this year, and I think they even if they were eligible, they would opt out as well.
Absolutely.
You're gonna see programs that are a little bit more concerned about the overall health of the players and just the staff and everything. They're going to opt out more. So I don't even think it matters on the field. It's going to be the off the field stuff that's going to make some of these schools think about whether they should travel and go play these bowl games.
Absolutely. And another one you're going to see a lot of is Pac-12 and West Coast teams opting out probably more than anybody, just because the West Coast, as we know, has been hit extremely hard in comparison to the rest of the country. So you're not going to probably see Arizona State in a bowl game. If you're going to see anybody out of the Pac-12, it's probably going to be USC or Oregon, and that's probably going to be it, if even those. Because, again, if you're not playing for the conference championship or in the playoff, then there's no point. And no one's going to risk themselves willingly just for, the rink-a-dink, please go buy my car.com bowl. Nobody's really going to care. So at that end, you're going to see a lot of teams opt out. But what's going to be interesting about it is how this is going to affect the college bowl system going forward. Because now if you can't fill these, that's lost revenue for the NCAA. That's lost revenue for the sponsor of that bowl. Do those sponsors now pull out? Do those bowl games get canceled? Are they able to be financially viable moving forward? So there's a lot of things that could happen with this, and it's really going to come down to just how many teams opt out. Because I have a feeling the NCAA will scrape the bottom of that barrel if they have to, and even find the New York Jets of the college football world to be able to put into a bowl game. So,
so you mean they will get the actual New York Jets?
Oh, yes,
That's
the New
possible.
York Jets. Yeah, not just the New York Jets of college football, but the literal New York Jets are going to get a bowl game. It'll be called the NFL
They might
Open
have
Classic.
a chance then. I don't know. They might have a chance to win then. I don't know.
They might have a chance. I don't know. You get these Coastal Carolinas. I don't know. But
that's great.
It's gonna be the ever evolving, lack of a better word, shit show that we've been seeing in college football. So don't have a lot of high hopes for a full bowl schedule. Excuse me, full bowl. I can't English today. I just need to stop.
A full bowl schedule.
Bowl schedule this season. We might not see one at all. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. God, I'm waiting for somebody to rip me up in the comments though, because I'm having a hard time Englishing today. But,
you do, man. You try to talk 100 miles an hour, and
I'm so excited. I've already had to drop the mic twice.
You're going 100 miles an hour, but your brain's going 100, and your mouth is going like 95. So you're.
Yeah, I'm stuck behind the slow person in the fast lane right now. Oh my goodness! But you know what? You know who isn't stuck in the fast lane behind a slow person? Podcast City Network. There's a segue for you. What can you tell us about Podcast City Network?
Well, FinalScore is a proud member of Podcast City Network, and PCN is your home for up-and-coming independent podcasts. You can find the network on social media, facebook.com/Podcast City Network. On Twitter is @PodcastCityNet. You can search for Podcast City Network content on YouTube. Just search the keywords Podcast City Network. And, of course, on the website, podcastcity.net. We have 18 shows currently on the network with a few in the pipeline, which announcements will be coming very soon. So be on the lookout for that on our social media and on the website.
Absolutely. Definitely keep your eyes open for that. Definitely going to be some huge announcements coming soon. Just as huge as what could be happening possibly to college basketball, because college basketball is back. And it's gone because a lot of teams are already starting to repause their programs, cancel and postpone games. Man, you thought college football was bad. College basketball, it might be worse. And it's been amazing to kind of see the progression that we've seen because when we got to the beginning of the season, I think it was November 21st, around that time, there was a whole list of teams that was put out. 32 teams plus 8 Ivy League teams made it 40 total teams that had either some type of pausing of their program, shutting down of their seasons, some type of quarantine, something that led them to postpone or cancel games, postpone or cancel the opening of their seasons or even practice. It was absolutely amazing. Even if you look at the Ivy League, all 8 Ivy League teams completely canceled their seasons. They weren't even going to bother. So it's been amazing to see and how that's turned out to where we even are now, where a lot of teams are just having to deal with it again. What are your thoughts on this entire situation with COVID?
Well, I mean, we've seen coaches be a little bit more vocal about it now. Obviously, Coach K's being a big one, talking about the NCAA should at least readdress whether the season is feasible. But of course, he wouldn't say that if he was undefeated. But I think he's on the right track. Is that when NCAA made the announcement to go forward with a college basketball season, Jay Billis said it on national broadcast this weekend as well, that when the NCAA made the announcement, we were in a much better situation just overall in the country as far as numbers are concerned, outbreaks are concerned. But now you see a lot of spikes around the country, and a lot of teams are feeling the effects. And of course, I'm going to say this until my voice goes away, until my voice just dies off. College sports should not have happened in 2020. They should not happen in 2020. You're talking about kids that don't get paid to represent schools that make all the money, and it's putting them in harm's way unnecessarily, and you're really putting a lot of people at risk. So it's just kind of show you the greediness of the NCAA here. I understand that we need sports to kind of help us feel a little bit more normal, but NCAA, in my personal opinion, is really trying to just force this. We're gonna show you that COVID doesn't matter, and we're just gonna push forward. And they're trying to make it look like COVID's not even happening right now. It's stupid.
Yeah,
it's just
incredibly
stupid. Yeah, Devin's with us on here. Coach K is definitely being a hypocrite.
Yes.
But he's got it right. There's no cases at Duke, but now you've lost 2 games at home for the first time in a long time, and now you say that, oh no, it's in the best interest of the kids, and NCAA needs to change. Yeah, you don't hear Coach Cal, even though they're 1-4, which got upset by your Notre Dame Fighting Irish yesterday. You don't hear Coach Cal being as vocal as Coach K right now about shutting down the season. Mike Bray has been all over Twitter about how they should shut it down. But hey, by the way, if you guys need to, we need to play. So trying to find teams that should play them. But we're just going to see a lot of cancellations. And we mentioned this a few weeks ago. I would not be surprised if you see conference champions that have like 10 games under the season, 15 games under the belt, instead of they were trying to get up to 27, I think it was, at the beginning of the year. But of the games that actually did play, we had some pretty big upsets. I mean, just to kind of double down on the Miami Hurricanes, they got upset at home by Florida Gulf Coast yesterday. That was a big loss.
Dude.
Kentucky losing at home to Notre Dame. Tennessee actually played their second game of the year finally, which was I guess a win for them. But we should have a pretty big shakeup in the rankings. The AP Top 25 comes out again today, but number 6 Illinois lost on the road to Missouri. Missouri it was.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
That was a big loss. There's a lot of shakeup I think is going to happen here. Lots of cancellations.
Yeah.
I know Michigan State's game got canceled. Kansas got canceled. Michigan's had a couple games canceled. Lots of cancellations right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But, when you really look at it, it's going the way of like how college football did, where you're starting to see all these cancellations that are popping up, all these teams having to postpone games or cancel parts of their schedule. I think there's even talks of like a lot of teams switching to conference-only schedules, just like college football did, and that's something that I think they should have taken a little bit more seriously going into the season, where you saw Coach K being a hypocrite, wanting to push hard, but now all of a sudden, oh, no, now it's an issue. Maybe we need to look at this more closely. Like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Like, you can't go
just because he's 2-2. He's ranked number 10 in the country, but he's 2-2.
Yeah, but he's 2-2, and it's like, come on, dude, really? But it's the whole thing is, in my eyes, a complete, again, shit show, because you're seeing these teams, again, try to push through and be like, oh, we're taking these measures, we're doing everything that we can, when in reality, they really aren't. They're just doing the bare minimum to get by and try and have a season so that their school or their conference or whatever the case may be, depending upon who you're affiliated with in the process, is able to make the money they want to make. And that's what it always comes down to, is the damn money. So, especially when you're talking about college athletics, sadly. So, That's what makes the NCAA go round. It's been like the worst kept secret of the last 15, 20 years, that the NCAA only cares about the NCAA and making the amount of money they can. I'm surprised they didn't try to push forward with the tournament last year. Oh,
But
yeah, I'm fully surprised. When I actually heard they were canceling, I was like, you know what? Look at the NCAA actually making a correct choice. But obviously, they have to find a way in all their infinite wisdom to be able to find the balance in everything and make a dumb decision. So here we are now trying to expose kids and have them do their little pony tricks and all their little backflips to be able to go out there and put on a show so these schools can make money. So, again, all about the almighty dollar. But here we are. We'll see how it turns out, though. Obviously, we're going to report a lot more on this come next week. Yeah, sorry, I'm picking up and throwing mics at this point. But you know what? If you always wanted to throw your hat into the ring or your mic into the ring, you have the opportunity to do that with Podcast City Network. Because if you have a podcast or want to start a podcast, you can join us and be able to become a part of this great thing that we have going on, because they offer an array of membership services, including logo design and branding, social media advertising, live podcast hosting, and much, much more. You also gain access to our network of shows to help with cross-promotion, guests, and overall reach, while also becoming a part of our ever-expanding PCN community based on people helping people. And the best part is, there's no membership fee. So what are you waiting for? Go to podcastcity.net/join now and join the fastest-growing independent podcast network around, Podcast City Network. Which, if we just had that conversation, then it's time for a little bit of social madness. And I did see Jimmy go in on the chat and say, man, I had to make a last minute meme, and I'm going to let him know right now, I got it on the show. So that's right. I even added a meme in all this. So
great.
Yeah, we're going to strike it from the top. Definitely make sure to check these out on our social media. They are on our Facebook at PCN Final Score. As you see, 1,109 followers over here. So definitely help us get that number bigger. Invite your friends, share with your friends, all that good stuff. But our first meme up for the day is, if podcasting was an Olympic sport, who do you think the best athlete would be? That's right. Podcast City Network, baby. Hey.
we should have the meme. What's the meme with the Olympic? There's first, second, and third, and the third place guy is like,
oh yeah,
great, popping bottles and fighting.
Yeah, kissing the girl with the trophy girl. Yeah,
that's great.
Oh,
I love
such
that
good
one.
stuff. Such good stuff. But almost as good as when ESPN and their analysts try to sit down and analyze the NFL, or more specifically the Jets, and trying to say, you know what, they play hard, but over here at Final Score, we're realists, and we know that's a crock. Why do you bring 7 blitzers on the final play of the game with the win in the balance? Oh my God, that's not tanking. I don't know what is. Oh my God,
cover zero, coach.
Yeah.
Coach, we're winning. I said cover zero.
I said cover zero. More. More. Oh my gosh, we should get some of those memes. Oh man. Oh, such good stuff. But almost as good as when that we bring that fire, and if you see a little clown, if you see a clown down in the sewer drain and says they got that final score, you know what we're doing.
He's lathering up.
Lathering it up. Hey.
Lathering up.
Oh, it's too good. It's too good. But you know what? We like to hit the real things in the room. We like to look at the ethics. As today, we have dropped truth bombs left and right on college and on major sports leagues. And it's because we do it better than anybody. That's why we have a meme for it. Oh, it's too good, man. Too freaking good. And if you're listening to this on our recorded audio, you can definitely check out all these memes on our Facebook page at PCN Final Score, or you can hop on over to our YouTube and see the video portion of this episode by searching keyword Final Score, one word, and giving us a follow there on YouTube so you can see all of these great episodes. But because a lot of people say that they don't want to try another sports show and that they're all the same, but once you try a Final Score, you know where it's at.
I love that. I love that Shaq face. Like,
it's
that's
too
just
good.
that's an iconic meme face.
Oh, it's too good, man. It's too good. And I'm already like a huge fan of the MCU. So for that to like drop in there too, it's too good.
It's funny though too. Like, if you guys are if you guys are paying attention outside the sports world, MCU released a ton of new Phase 4 stuff, and I'm sorry, I'm over it. I'm done. I'm over it. Like, it's too much. Overkill. It's overkill.
It's overkill.
There's too many.
Goodness. Too many. Yeah, it's been.
I stopped trying to follow anymore. I can't.
Yeah, I'm too much of an addict. I can't lie. I can't lie. But you know what? When you get past everything that you're into and you got to try and quiet your mind down for the night, but you just can't. Your brain's saying, you know what? Podcast City Network has 18 shows.
Are you trying to sleep? Yeah. You know PCN's got 18 shows? I'm awake.
Awake. Oh, man. Too good. Too
That's
good.
Great.
And to follow it all up for the grand finale, yes, this was just posted minutes ago on our Facebook page by the great Jimmy and all his meme work. It's been so good. And he wanted to make sure people knew that I really did drop that mic today. And I dropped it hard on Miami and Ohio State. Oh, it's too good, man. It's too good. Too good. But no, we thank all of you who contribute and send in memes. We really enjoy all of them. Please come check them out. Come post some up with us. You might even end up on Social Madness. You never know. So definitely check it out. Man, I love those memes. They're too good. And again, of course, definitely make sure to even see everything. You got to follow us on social media at PCN Final Score, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting one. Instagram and YouTube. My gosh, I'm all over the place today.
Instagram, YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, gosh, man, I just need to go lay down probably for an hour. But make sure to give us a follow. We're trying to bump these numbers. We're trying to hit new goals going into a new year. We've battled through 2020, and we've had all of you along the way, and we thank all of you so much. So definitely make sure to try and help us hit these goals above us. Definitely try and make sure to help us out with that. And invite your friends. Go like them yourselves. If you don't have a Twitter, go get a Twitter. You don't have a Facebook. I don't even know how you're watching us right now. But, hey, go get a Facebook. So definitely go check us out. And you can also check us out on PodChaser. What more can you tell us about that, Craig?
Yeah, PodChaser is your daily source for podcast discovery. Apple Podcasts is no longer the only credible place that you can rate and review podcasts. You can follow individual creators. You can browse every podcast ever and rate and review individual episodes. We're also on PodChaser. You can go to podchaser.com and search keyword Final Score. That's one word, Final Score. And you can give us a follow, a rating, and a review. And there's a lot of fun stuff on there. They're always working on some new things for the podcast industry. Mm-hmm. So go check them out, podchaser.com.
Yes, definitely go check them out. A lot of great stuff going on over there. But that does bring us now to the week ahead. And there's definitely some things happening in sports this upcoming week. Starting first and foremost with college football conference championships. Yes, that's right. It is conference championship week. We have the ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, and Sun Belt titles all on the line with a lot of great games, including Notre Dame versus Clemson, Alabama versus Florida, Ohio State versus Northwestern, Oklahoma versus Iowa State, and Louisiana versus Coastal Carolina. I tell you what, I'm really excited for these games, and hopefully Notre Dame will get that second victory over Clemson this year. Stamp that ticket to the playoff.
I'll tell you right now, 2 of these games are going to be close. The other 3 are going to be blowouts.
Oh, snap. Which ones are you going to say are which?
ACC and Sun Belt should be close games. SEC, Bama's going to blow out. Ohio State in a blowout, and Oklahoma in a blowout.
Definitely could see all that happening, and definitely be very interesting, especially considering Iowa State beat Oklahoma at home this year, but now they're at a neutral site, so could change the game. But we also have NBA preseason action. If you're not familiar with the preseason setup for this year, each team is paired up with one team, and they play 3 games on the road, 3 games at home, and there's your preseason. So, you know.
Yeah, and we also we're setting up with the season coming just around the corner. We're having a little bit more basketball coverage, so we're setting up a couple interviews, which we'll make some announcements on those in the coming days. So be on the lookout for that. We're gonna have some more basketball coverage, and the season starts on Christmas. So basketball fans rejoice.
Absolutely, and it's gonna be so amazing. That's right. We are right there, just over a week away from the start of the NBA season. Gosh, I can't wait, man. It's going to be awesome. Hopefully Orlando can actually do something. They're saying Markelle Fultz looks good this year, so we'll see. I know how you love him. But that also means
he's a bridge. He's a bridge to their point guard of the future, Cole Anthony. Now,
yeah, I'm not going to argue with that one. But either way, that does mean we're at the end of our episode. But that also means that next week we will be having episode 86 of Final Score, 10 a.m. here on Facebook Live. So definitely make sure to give us a like and a follow and check mark for those notifications so you know when we go live. And that way you don't miss it because, hey, you can't miss Final Score, baby. But that means that is the end of this week's episode. Thank you all excuse me, I'm just slapping everything around here. Thank you so much for supporting us here at Final Score and supporting the show and watching us. We definitely could not do any of this without all of you. Any parting words, Scred?
Devin says, give me Buffalo for the MAC title against over Ball State. Yes, it should be Buffalo versus Western Michigan, but both of us being alums have our few choice words about Western Michigan. Buffalo, I think, is going to literally run all over Ball State to win the MAC title.
Ooh, definitely could happen, and we will see. But definitely make sure to join us next week. That way we can bring it to you live here on Final Score. But until then, I'm Chris, and that's Craig, and you guys just watched Final Score. Y'all have a great night.
Podcast City Network.